Hello readers, and thank you for joining me for another phonics lesson. Today we are moving into lesson number 3, looking at the long O VCE pattern. However, today, lessons 1 and 2 were about monosyllabic words, words with one syllable. Now we're looking at multisyllabic words, words with more than one syllable, like trombone, and it ends with that long vowel VCE pattern. So we're going to be looking at some words that have those patterns, and we're going to be looking at how to figure out how to read it, especially if it's a word that we don't know already. We're going to start with a brief phonics review. We're going to go over how to figure out how to read those words. We're going to go over some long O word families that you might see at the end of a word, like own in trombone. And then we're going to do some silent blending to see if you can figure out the word before I do. So let's go ahead and get started with our phonics review, and then we'll learn how to read these words that have more than one syllable. Make these sounds with me. K, d, h, r, p, t, n, b, s, b, j, k, o. All right. So here we have a word that you may or may not know already. Let's pretend like we don't know it. And then we're going to look for that VCE pattern. And we know when we find that we sometimes call that a bossy E or a magic E. But what it does is it gives us a signal. And it gives us a signal that this is going to be a long vowel sometimes. So when we're breaking up multisyllabic words, we know that the first thing we always do is we look for the vowels. Now, I will tell you, on this first word only am I going to go through this whole process. The rest, hopefully you've already learned a little bit about multisyllabic words and how to break them apart and the rules. If not, I've got some videos here that you can look at that will help with that. We know when we see two vowels, we're going to label the consonants between them. And this has 3 consonants. And we know normally we put this line here in between after the first consonant. We know that's where it goes here for sure. Actually, normally we put it here. It's called the Panther rule. But on this one, I have a blend. And we never break up a blend. So if I were reading it, it would be explode. And my whole word would be explode. Boom. Hopefully your mind is exploding with new knowledge. So let's try it again. Again, I will not show the lines, the consonants, the bridge. I'm not going to show any of that on any more of the words. I will help us identify the vowels because the vowels give us the clues on where we should break our words up because every syllable has a vowel. So let's get started. Our first word is going to be this. Our first step is always to look at the end and see if we see a VCE pattern. And we do. So we know that's going to be silent. And this is going to say it's long vowel sound. We look for our vowels. We see an I and an O. We have a VCCV pattern. So we know we split between the 2 consonants. Let's try it and see if it works. Dispose. Dispose. And if we put that together, what do we get? Dispose. That means to get rid of something, throw it away. Let's try another one. Again, look at the end. What are we looking for? Our VCE pattern, and we do have it. So after we find that, we're going to look for the vowels. And we do have 2 vowels here. Again, there's 2 consonants. We're going to split between that. So let's try it out. Read it with me. Pin. Hold. And if I put that together, what's our word? Pinhole. A pinhole is a tiny little hole. Looks like it was made with a pin or a needle. We have another one here. What's the first thing we look for? That VCE pattern, and again, we do have it. After we find the pattern, what do we look for? Our vowels, and we do have 2 vowels. Now, I don't have a VCCV pattern this time. It'd be a vowel, a consonant, and a vowel. We know normally it splits after the vowel. Let's see how that works. Try it with me. Remote. If we put it together, what do we have? Remote. And we all know that what a remote is because we use it to control our TVs. Let's try another word. This one might be an unknown word, but let's look at it. What's the first step we look for? We look for that VCE pattern, and we know we have that. After we find that, what do we look for? Our vowels. That's right. Again, a VCV pattern. Usually the break goes here, which would make this a long vowel. It's an open syllable. Let's give it a try and see what we have. E, road. And what's my new word? Erode. Erode, think about the word erosion. When something erodes, it starts to wear away gradually. All right, very good. Let's go over these word families. All long O that you might see. Say these with me. Oat, obe, ode, ohm, or it might be sometimes, ove, o's, ope, own, oak, old, o's. I'm sure you could think of some words that may end with those patterns. Ready for some silent blending? Don't say the word until the whole thing is up on the screen. Telescope. Compose. Alone. Sunstroke. Episode. Cyclone. Antelope. Envelope. Microscope. How'd you do? I hope it got easier the more you practiced, and it will get easier the more that you practice. Thanks for sticking with me to the end, and until next time, happy reading.